Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage on this Friday, August 16th, 2024. We are into the second half of August now, and in today's weather forecast, we will be discussing heat and humidity across the southern United States, additional rounds of severe weather across parts of the country, and Hurricane Ernesto's latest track, impacts, and what it will mean for the eastern part of the United States and Canada as we go through the next few days. So make sure to subscribe to the channel here. This is the best way to get the latest weather information right at your fingertips, folks. We are quickly approaching 100,000 subscribers, so if you want to hit the subscribe button and help me out, definitely appreciate it. Press the like button as well. The thumbs up button helps out a long way as well. And also leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. We'll get to those after the video. But right now you're looking at the GOES satellite imagery across North America and the adjacent Atlantic Ocean. We have some active weather across the United States here, across the Midwest, Great Lakes, and Ohio Valley. And then we have Hurricane Ernesto over here approaching Bermuda. We'll be talking about that here later on in the video. So let's dive into the forecast for you folks here. And looking at the weather alerts, we have heat headlines across the lower Mississippi Valley back into the southern plains here today. In the orange, those are heat advisories. In the purple, those are excessive heat warnings where we are gearing up for what is likely to be a very hot weekend, likely the hottest weekend of summer so far across parts of Oklahoma, Arkansas, western Tennessee, into Mississippi here, into Louisiana, and Texas as well. And the culprit for that is the high pressure ridge over here. See these maroon reds? That's the center of that ridge of high pressure into the Four Corner states and nudging its way eastward into western and central Texas, western portions of Oklahoma today. And notice how that just expands as we enter the weekend. This goes into Saturday, August 17th and Sunday, August 18th. Notice it just continues to expand across the middle part of the country. So what this means is their afternoon highs are going to be scorching out there for the central and more so the southern plains and the lower Mississippi Valley. Temperatures at 104 this afternoon in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, 107 scorching hot there into Wichita Falls, Texas, 103 in Abilene, and 103 also in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, this afternoon. Going into Saturday afternoon, a little bit hotter. Notice how when we're talking about that ridge expands, it's going to intensify, so those high temperatures will get even hotter. 106 in the Dallas-Fort Worth area there on Saturday afternoon, 104 into places like Texarkana, 110 into the Wichita Falls area, and 109 into the Oklahoma City metro, and that will continue as we go into Sunday afternoon, a lot of the same. But notice across the Midwest, the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley in the Northeast, a lot of these areas will be much cooler this weekend with a backdoor cold front from Canada moving down south and west in a weird direction into the United States, bringing more refreshing and more, less humidity to the United States for the weekend. All the heat and humidity that we are talking about is fueling those severe storm rounds across the country. Going back to yesterday on Thursday, August 15th, we did have a lot of wind reports across the middle of the country, 72 of those to be exact. Thankfully, no tornadoes were reported, and 29 hail reports, going for 101 total severe weather reports yesterday from parts of the Northeast back here into the Midwest, southern plains, and even back into the Rockies, seeing that in Idaho and Montana as well. Here is your storm energy as we go through today. This is your convective available potential energy. The higher the value, the higher the chance of thunderstorms, and thus the severe weather chances are higher as well. You can see those values are higher across portions of the Ohio Valley, mid-south as we go through today, mid-south into the southern plains as we go into tomorrow, and then on Sunday, cold front moves further down to the south from Canada, pushing that storm energy a little bit further south toward the southeast, the Gulf Coast, and the southern plains on Sunday. So let's look at the latest day one outlook from the Storm Prediction Center here for today on Friday, August 16th. Broad brush marginal risk level 1 out of 5 from the Great Lakes all the way back down here into parts of the southeast into Dixie Alley there. And then rounding its way back there into the western plains. Level 2 out of 5, slight risk of severe weather with slightly greater coverage and intensity of storms today across central and southern Kansas, northeast Oklahoma, southwest Missouri, and northwestern Arkansas. We'll be watching that for places like Wichita, Tulsa, back into the Fort Smith and Little Rock areas as we go into today. So this afternoon, storm coverage pretty isolated all across the country. We start to see that get a little bit more scattered as we go into the evening hours, and then we're going to watch a cluster of showers and storms that'll evolve into the southern plains, places like Kansas, Oklahoma here later on this evening, and then into early Saturday morning. This is after midnight. That'll push through Wichita, Tulsa, into the Fort Smith area, Fayetteville, into places there like Little Rock. We'll have to watch out for that as we go into early Saturday morning. Then going into the weekend, we have a lot of different areas of severe weather here for Saturday, August 17th. Slight risk over here into Kentucky. And then another slight risk in an odd area over here that we don't normally see it into portions of Washington State and Western Oregon as an upper level low begins to move on shore from the Pacific Ocean into the Pacific Northwest, bringing some severe weather chances, and then more plain severe weather from South Dakota into western Nebraska, into the Panhandle region, the Front Range of the Rockies in northeast Colorado and northwestern Kansas, and then all across the mid-Atlantic coast, the southeast coast, and down into Dixie Alley. We have that marginal risk going into Sunday. So this weekend, Saturday afternoon, scattered coverage here all across the eastern part of the United States. That will continue Saturday evening. Bigger storms Saturday evening across Washington State and Western Oregon. Could be watching for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and some hail over there. And then as we go into Sunday afternoon, some more storms across the mid-Atlantic coast, the southeast coast down toward Dixie Alley. We'll be watching, lighting up the radars there into Sunday evening, watching out for a few strong to severe storms as we go into that time frame. Looking at the rainfall amounts going through Monday, early next week through August 19th, heaviest of the rains will be from the northeast, especially the Poconos over here into Pennsylvania. We could be seeing over 2 inches worth of rain, and then down the Appalachians through West Virginia, Ohio, down into eastern Kentucky, western Virginia, getting into middle and eastern Tennessee, down into Alabama, North Georgia. That's an area where we could see a swath of around 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches of rainfall. And like I said, the Poconos here into Pennsylvania could see over 2 inches worth of rainfall through Monday. And you can see as we go into next week, here's what we have going on. We got that upper level low, that trough moving in across the Pacific Northwest. That will be producing severe weather chances this weekend over there. Big ridge of high pressure in the middle here. That is going to be leading to some extreme heat and humidity again across the southern plains and the Four Corners region. And then that trough across the northeast mid-Atlantic is going to be providing us with some cooler air, but some more unsettled weather as we go into next week. So let's look first at our temperatures on Monday, August 19th. That backdoor cold front is going to be the force behind our more refreshing, less humid air mass across the northeast U.S. as we go into Monday. Very strong heating across the southern plains. Then as we go into Wednesday, look at the tale of two cities. We got very strong heat across the middle of the country and a lot of cooler weather in the northeast. Areas up here into Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, even Connecticut, Rhode Island, eastern New York State could be 25 degrees below normal for this time of year by the time we get to Wednesday, August 21st. And then we start to moderate those temperatures across the country a little bit as we end the week there next week on Friday, August 23rd. Precipitation chances throughout the week, it will be active mainly across the north and the eastern United States. On Monday, we got some disturbances moving through the southern Canadian prairies into the northern Rockies, and then a bigger low pressure system over here into the northeast, bringing unsettled weather Monday into Tuesday. More storms will watch here in the Dakotas, Nebraska on Tuesday. Those will fade out. Wednesday looks like a relatively quiet day for most of the United States, and then Thursday another disturbance across portions of Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Canada will drop down to the northern plains and upper Midwest, providing us with some chances of scattered showers and thunderstorms. It's too early to determine the severe weather risk for next week, but definitely seeing above average rains up into southern Canada, the northern United States, and especially the northeast up here as well. We could be seeing some pretty heavy rainfall over here into places like Maine, the Portland area, over 4 inches worth of rainfall just next week during that 5-day period. Boston could be seeing around 1 to 2 inches of rain, Hartford around 1 inch of rain, and Nantucket could see around 1 inch of rain as well as we go through next week. Here's your tropical weather update here on Weather on the Go. We are continuing to watch Hurricane Ernesto as it is a Category 2 hurricane at 100 miles per hour currently as it approaches the island of Bermuda. And here's the latest wind field with this system. The tropical storm force winds are already starting to make their way into the Bermuda Islands. We have hurricane warnings up for that as well. Hurricane force winds not too far behind there. And you can see the latest track from the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida, has this at a Category 2 or less hurricane all the way through Monday as it moves just to the south and east there of Nova Scotia. And then post-tropical cyclone as it moves quickly just south of Greenland into areas closer closer toward Europe by the end of next week. So looking at the latest intensity, it's not going to get any stronger really than a Category 2 than it is right now. It'll start to weaken back to Cat 1, really kind of sustaining at a Cat 1 over the next 72 to 96 hours before weakening back to a post-tropical cyclone. And you can see this here with the latest HWRF model. You can see today this is approaching portions of Bermuda. It's going to weaken as it interacts with some of those islands there very briefly, and then as we go into Sunday, re-strengthening maybe just a bit or sustaining at a Category 1. And notice the center of the low pressure is well offshore of Nova Scotia and eastern Canada, but this will still provide rip currents and some strong surf across portions there of the coast of the Northeast, but also especially Nova Scotia and eastern Canada. We'll be watching that, and then that'll race just south of Greenland and towards Europe by the middle and end of next week. And when we're talking about the significant waves this weekend, you can see some of those waves are elevated across the mid-Atlantic and Northeast up there toward Nova Scotia, but then a glancing blow of some stronger waves heights as we go into early next week off Nova Scotia's coast there, maybe approaching 15 feet. Something we'll have to watch for rip currents and some beach erosion and some inland flooding potentially there as well as we go into early next week. Looking at the long-range outlook for portions of the Atlantic Ocean for the hurricane season ahead, very active times in the main development region as these tropical waves come off of Africa into the main development region and taking a run either at the Caribbean or especially the western tropical Atlantic, much like Ernesto did. And that is much more likely as we turn the page into early September. We have over a 60% chance of that occurring there in the main development region. So the Windward Islands, the Greater Antilles, and also the Bahamas may have to watch this as well as Bermuda as we go into early September. And we'll keep you covered here on this channel. So make sure to subscribe to the latest weather information here on this channel right at your fingertips. Make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. Make sure to give the video a like with a thumbs up down below if you did enjoy today's weather forecast. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. We'll get to those later on today, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Friday out there.